Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7 p.m. on LA56.
A woman gunned down by another driver, possibly for laughing, is being remembered this evening during a vigil.
She's a girl, a little baby, sitting there by herself in the middle of the parking lot, no one around her.
A 2-year-old girl kidnapped at a Gardena car wash and then later dropped off at a parking lot in Cudahy. New video of the suspect's car as a child predator remains on the loose.
And another American, a woman arrested and accused of trying to join ISIS. How the FBI tracked her down. Good evening, I'm Michelle Susie in for Colleen Sullivan.
Now, David Ona, this is Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. And with heavy hearts, loved ones of a woman shot and killed in Hawthorne earlier this week gathered for a vigil. This as we hear from her family for the first time since the deadly shooting. And Eyewitness News reporter Melissa McBride is live in Hawthorne with more. Melissa?
And David, we're at the intersection of Rosecrans and Kornblume, and this is where the shooting happened on Wednesday. And people started gathering about half an hour ago for this candlelight vigil. Among the people that are here, Denise Berry's brother, her sister, also cousins, and 2 of her sons. Her son, who was injured in that shooting, he is not in attendance tonight, but many people who knew and loved Denise Berry are here tonight to show their support for each other.
34-year-old Denise Berry was a mother of 3 sons and a bus driver for Metro. She was supposed to be at work on Wednesday but took the day off. Detectives say Berry and her 12-year-old son Mylan were on Kornblume Avenue when she pulled over to tell a Hawthorne police officer she was being followed. That's when a white Cadillac pulled up and 38-year-old Robert Washington opened fire. Berry was killed. Her son was wounded. The police officer shot and killed Washington.
We just want Denise to know wherever she is that we love her and we miss her.
Detectives are still investigating, but they say they have a possible motive. Berry and her son apparently laughed when they drove by the Cadillac because they saw a man's feet hanging out the window. For Berry's family, it was a senseless act of violence.
Everyone ends up dying, but not everyone dies in the manner that she died. And that is what hurts.
12-year-old Mylan is out of the hospital, and the family says everyone is just focused on having strength in numbers.
As long as we have each other, that's all that matters. So we just want to get him as much help as he possibly can to get through this.
And back here live, there are a number of bus drivers and people who work for Metro that knew Denise and some who didn't. They are here to show their support for her family as well. She was a bus driver for about 4.5 years for Metro, and family members tell me that she loved her job, she loved going to work every day and serving the people of Los Angeles. Reporting live in Hawthorne, I'm Melissa McBride, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Such a sad story, Melissa. Thank you. Well, it wasn't exactly the thrill some thrill seekers were hoping for today at Disney's California Adventure Park. Air 7 HD was over the scene as the California Screamin' roller coaster experienced mechanical issues. Cars were stopped on the tracks and riders were forced to walk down the stairs. Eyewitness News assignment editor Armando Barragan sent us this video with the hashtag ABC7 Eyewitness of one of the cars stuck midway up the hill. Former Major League pitcher Jamie Moyer was one of the guests stuck on the ride. He tweeted these pics saying, "Not sure what is more difficult, pitching a Major League game or this." No one was hurt.
We're getting new information on the kidnapping of a 2-year-old girl in Gardena. Police today releasing new surveillance video of the suspect's car. Plus, we're hearing that the little girl was injured in this abduction. Eyewitness News reporter Sid Garcia reports from Gardena, where police are calling the suspect a child predator.
This man is a child predator. He is out there, and we need the public's help to find him.
Police say the suspect dropped off a 2-year-old girl in the middle of this parking lot in Cudahy around 8 last night. Constantino Fusaki says one of his customers spotted her.
Glances over there and he sees a girl, a little baby, sitting there by herself, middle of the parking lot, no one around her. And then he rushes to her aid along with some other owners as well. And they call the police department, fire department, everyone comes by, and they see the little girl sitting there crying.
The nightmare began for the toddler's family at this Gardena car wash on 150th Street and Western Avenue. It was just before 5 yesterday afternoon when the 2-year-old was snatched from the back seat of her mother's car.
She's my little niece. Just bring her to us safe.
After the little girl was found, she was taken to the hospital to be checked out. Police say she was injured, but won't say what happened. What they did talk about is the surveillance video of the suspect's car. Police say this white Nissan Altima was seen behind the Gardena car wash just before the kidnapping. It was also caught on video driving through a Cudahy neighborhood just before she was dropped off.
This is a stranger abduction. This is not a family abduction. The information that we have is that the victim does not know the suspect.
Back where the child was found, parents we talked to say they're concerned about the safety of their own children.
I'm so scared that you never know what random stranger might just be like, oh, can I touch him, and then just snatch him. So we never put him down.
You just have to watch your kids. I mean, that's what it basically comes down to. You can't take their eyes off of them because you never know what could happen.
If you have any information on what happened to this little girl, you're urged to contact the Gardena Police Department at the number you see on your screen. Area code 310-323-7911. In Gardena, Sid Garcia, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A former Corona special ed teacher was sentenced to 3 years in prison today for multiple sex-related felonies involving 5 students.
I made that choice in life, and for that, I'm truly sorry. More than anything.
32-year-old Summer Hansen tearfully apologized today at her sentencing in Riverside. In February, she pled guilty and made a plea agreement directly with the judge who determined the sentence. Prosecutors and parents called the sentence too lenient. The victims were students at Centennial High School in Corona.
Doctors at all 10 University of California campuses are planning a strike. Next Saturday, April 11th, doctors at local student health centers will walk off the job and stay off work until April 15th. The union for the doctors is negotiating a contract with the UC system. They want the college to provide financial information so they can better improve student health care. UC officials say that they are taking steps to ensure students have access to medical services during this strike. And a rift between the city of Compton and its school district has now led to legal action at issue marijuana dispensaries. And Eyewitness News reporter Amy Powell has details of why the school district is so upset.
The city of Compton passed an ordinance banning medical marijuana dispensaries 8 years ago, but illegal shops are still a problem. The Compton Unified School District alleges that a dozen dispensaries are currently operating in the city, some of them very close to schools.
We're standing in front of an illegal medical marijuana dispensary which is less than 500 feet away from Davis Middle School, and it's clearly unacceptable.
Ali says the dispensaries are in violation of local and state law, which prohibits medical marijuana facilities from operating within 600 feet of a school. Last week, the school district sent a letter to Compton officials demanding immediate enforcement of the dispensary ban.
If we're going to be serious about the business of educating children, then we should be serious about the business of providing protection and safety, and the city should move expeditiously to close down these illegal medical marijuana dispensaries.
The letter threatened legal action within 5 days if the city did not respond. On Wednesday, the district filed a lawsuit.
We are very concerned about it, very concerned, and we are devoting resources to tackle this issue.
City Attorney Craig Cornwell says he's surprised that school officials filed a lawsuit. He says the city is enforcing the law, but it's a difficult battle.
There are various remedies, both criminal and civil. The issue is whether they come back and how to maintain the location shut down. And that's been a challenge.
The city attorney says at least 4 illegal dispensaries have been shut down in the last year. In Compton, Amy Powell, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Well, after some pretty nice weather in terms of temperatures, we did see it go back up with the heat today. Jonathan Novak is here with a look at our conditions outside. Jonathan.
That's it, though. We're done with that heat, Michelle, folks. It was pretty hot, mid to upper 80s today. We approached 90 in some spots, and it was sunny and dry. That live Mega Doppler 7000 HD live sweep heading around, and yes, nothing out there right now, but we might see that radar get a little busy as we head into next week. Burbank's a time lapse showing you just a few high clouds today. It was just fantastic. 79 right now. Long Beach is at 74. Look at that onshore wind, 14 miles an hour. As we go through tonight, be a little breezy at the coast. Temperature is going to be very comfortable. But as we go through the weekend, temperatures will drop. And next week, we're talking rain. I will detail the chances of that coming up in that 7-day.
All right, see you soon. Jonathan, thank you. Now the latest on the Germanwings plane crash investigation. France's Interior Minister visited the memorial near the crash site, laying a wreath for the victims of the disaster. His visit follows disturbing news revealed when the second black box or flight data recorder was found. Investigators say the information shows co-pilot Andres Lubitz intentionally sped up the plane's descent into the French Alps. Authorities believe Lubitz deliberately brought down the plane, killing all 150 people on board.
Another suspected homegrown terrorist thwarted. A Philadelphia woman is arrested, accused of supporting and trying to join the Islamic State militant group. And as ABC's Lana Zach shows us, it's just the latest in a startling trend of terror suspects living among us.
30-year-old Kiana Thomas is the third woman in just 2 days to be accused of supporting terrorists here in the United States. Federal agents raided her home in Philadelphia last Friday with ABC affiliate WPVI on the scene. Thomas, also known as Fatayat al-Khalifa, or Young Lioness, appeared in court today on charges that she was trying to aid ISIS fighters in Syria, making plans to travel and train there. The complaint alleges that when she was asked online if she wanted to be a martyr, she replied, "That would be amazing. A girl can only wish." Thomas's arrest here in the U.S. is part of a disturbing trend.
We're seeing now, really on a regular basis, arrests last week, and now upwards of 30 or so arrests of individuals in the United States. And what it means is that ISIS is having an impact.
Just yesterday, 2 women from Queens, New York, were in court on charges that they intended to set off bombs here in the U.S.
It's incredible. I can't believe it.
Like Thomas, 28-year-old Noel Valensis and 31-year-old Asia Siddiqui followed terrorist organizations online, authorities allege. But unlike Thomas, they intended to bring the death and destruction to U.S. soil. Among the items found by the FBI, 4 propane tanks possibly intended to increase the power of a homemade bomb.
If convicted, Thomas faces a maximum of 15 years in prison. And those 2 women in Queens accused of bringing terrorism here to the U.S., well, they could face life. In New York, Lana Zach, ABC News.
This is one of the most sacred times of the year for Jews and Christians. In the Jewish religion, Passover begins at sundown. People in Jerusalem lined up to wash items of cutlery in boiling water for ceremonial cleansing. Passover is a week-long event marking the Hebrews' exodus from slavery in Egypt as recounted in the Bible.
Meantime, today marks Good Friday in Christianity. Followers are remembering the crucifixion of Christ leading up to his resurrection on Easter Sunday. Archbishop Jose Gomez led a special noon mass today at the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Angels in downtown Los Angeles. For leaders and believers of both religions, it is a day to reflect on the long tradition of Judeo-Christian shared values.
It is a remarkable story of endurance at sea.
Up next, we're hearing from a sailor who survived for months stranded on the Atlantic Ocean.
Plus, lightning strikes a plane. It's caught on camera. Now a passenger on board that flight is speaking out.
And is this a picture of Marilyn Monroe or Albert Einstein? The optical illusion that could mean you need to see an eye doctor.
It's an amazing story of courage and perseverance. A sailor managed to survive 2 months at sea on a crippled boat. Tonight he is talking about his unbelievable ordeal. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez has more.
Rescued after 66 days.
Survivors through the vessel.
Lost at sea.
I had many moments where I thought I would die.
Sailor Lewis Jordan back on shore in North Carolina, sharing the incredible story of how he survived more than 2 months alone in the Atlantic.
I never prayed this much in my life.
The 37-year-old set out on January 23rd from South Carolina to fish. One night he says he woke up to his boat capsizing.
And I was flying through the air and somersaulting, and all my GPS devices and everything, we were all rolling around in this water.
Jordan managed to stay with the boat, rationing out what little food he had, catching fish and rainwater, just waiting for help.
I don't want to die out here.
His parents reported him missing, but after 10 days with no sign of Jordan or the ship, the search was called off.
I started to think, it's over. I lost my son.
Then Thursday, a cargo ship spotted Jordan 200 miles off Cape Hatteras. The Coast Guard called in, airlifting him to safety. Overnight, an emotional reunion with his parents. So thankful, all those prayers, their son said, while sitting on his damaged boat, so fittingly named Angel, were answered.
It was wonderful. My baby had come home. Yeah.
Jordan has a broken collarbone and was treated for dehydration, but incredibly, he's already been released from the hospital. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, New York.
A spectacular sight in the skies over the Seattle area. A passenger plane was struck by lightning. Here's another look at it slowed down just a bit. The Alaska Airlines flight was heading from Houston to Seattle. A weather buff had gone up on top of a parking garage to get some video of the storm and just happened to capture this. He was amazed, as was one of the passengers on that plane.
I zoomed right in on him, and right as I did, just the lightning struck like right across the plane. And I was just stunned.
It wasn't like a bright light, it was the little zigzaggy bolt. And it looked like it hit the wing. And at the same time, there was a big loud pop. And the guy next to me was like, oh my gosh.
Turns out 2 planes were hit by lightning. Both landed safely. No one was hurt.
Scary.
Yeah.
Well, here's an interesting illustration of how our eyes can play tricks on us.
We're about to show you a picture, and depending on who you see, well, you might need glasses. So take a look. Now, this will depend on how close you're sitting to your TV, so you might want to stand up for a moment. And if you're at a normal viewing distance, you should see Albert Einstein. But if your vision is bad, or you take off your glasses, or you simply take a few steps back for the TV, you should see Marilyn Monroe instead.
Yeah, and now we're going to move the camera back, and as we do so, the image should change from Albert to Marilyn. There it is. Yeah. And if you're not seeing the change, keep walking backwards as far back as you can from your TV. You'll probably see it then. This optical illusion was created by scientists at MIT. They tell us it's not really meant to detect vision problems, but it does show us how the brain works, picking up on different details at different distances. And if you're still not seeing it, or if you want to share this with your friends, we've posted the picture on our ABC7 Facebook page.
That's fascinating. And how 2 people who look so entirely different can be melded into the same face. So
it is remarkable. I wonder if it has a lot to do with the shape of their faces and a similar hairline. If that's why they chose the 2 and zoom it back and then you see. I don't know, but like you said earlier, everyone looks better at a far distance.
At a distance.
Here's a good case of that.
Right. Now, another test is if you continue to stare at your TV screen, it'll start looking like Jonathan.
I knew I was waiting for that. Now, you guys are asking all these questions, but it should be clear that my theory, my conspiracy theory all along, is proven right. They're the same person. Marilyn Monroe was Albert Einstein. Thank you. Right? By the way, if you can't go back all the way, if you just kind of look above it and put the image sort of at your direct line of sight, then it will also change as well. So you don't always, if you don't have like a huge studio to back up in, you can do that too. Live Mega Doppler 7000 HD, I'm glad we covered that. Showing dry conditions right now, and tomorrow will be dry as well. But we're going to start looking ahead to next week, and we've got some rain chances in the forecast, if you can believe it. This is a time lapse. So look out over Running Springs, the sun setting over some real thin high clouds, and a shot As we look out over the coast, that's Long Beach, Laguna, 86 actually was our Long Beach high, I should say, 85 in Northridge, 87 in Fillmore and Riverside. Not records, but very hot stuff. Laguna Beach is at 72. Winds out of the west at 17. That's very important because we're getting that onshore flow, and that means that the moisture's returning, and it means that the morning clouds will be in place by about Sunday morning. 77 in downtown, and it's going to be a nice evening around the area. 82 in Santa Clarita right now, 77, lucky sevens there in Santa Ana, Fullerton, Hemet, and Ontario, and downtown LA, as we just saw. So this is actually about 10, 12 degrees warmer than it was this time last night. We've really warmed up very quickly, but we're going to cool down very quickly tomorrow and especially on Easter Sunday. Why? Well, again, high pressure was our weather maker, but as we go into the next couple of days, a trough of low pressure is going to move into the western portion of the country, bring us that onshore flow, increase it, and that's going to bring the temperatures down. The future scan shows Monday, Tuesday time frame. And that's when we really start seeing some more significant changes in the way of some rainfall. This is Sunday night. Look to the left of your screen there. You see that energy moving through the Pacific Northwest. That's going to dig south, and by Tuesday through California. And the chance of rain Tuesday, the second half of the day into the first half of Wednesday, is about 40%, and the temperatures are going to be dropping into the 60s. We haven't had highs in the 60s in LA since the beginning of March. 80s, though, for highs on Saturday, mid-80s in the IE and 70s at the coast. Going to be a nice day on Saturday. Easter Sunday looks nice, too. A few clouds cooling down to average, and then below average for the first half of the work week. Chances of rain in there Tuesday into Wednesday. Could see quarter, half inch of rain in the LA area. Not bad. Valley's IE, temperatures in the, I'd say, warm category tomorrow, and then we're cooling off big time on Sunday, 11 degrees down to 71, and you have a chance of rain, too, on Tuesday and Wednesday. The beach, great weather tomorrow, and even for Easter Sunday, aside from some morning fog, and then we'll have some fog on Monday, temperatures dipping into the 60s on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and a chance of rain. Now, the mountains, we're actually going to see a little bit of a cool shot up above with this system, so I'm going to have snow levels down around 5,000 feet for Tuesday and Wednesday, maybe some snow for you. Temperatures at 40 degrees on Wednesday. The high desert, even got some rain for you guys on Tuesday into Wednesday as well.
All right.
That's it for me. Back to you guys.
Use those changes. Jonathan,
yeah,
thank
absolutely.
you. A huge penalty against the U.S. car maker following a deadly crash that killed a young boy. Details up next.
Plus, a massive fire keeps hundreds of firefighters busy for hours, and we'll show you what was burning.
And ahead at 7:30, a first look at a new irrigation system that could save you hundreds on your watering bill.
Take a look at this one. A raging 7-alarm fire rips through General Electric's Appliance Park in Kentucky, shutting down production as hundreds of firefighters work to get a handle on the flames. You can see this giant plume of black smoke billowing from the plant in Louisville. A spokeswoman says the non-production building is used for offices and storage. The cause of the fire is still unknown, but it could be tomorrow before it's put out. People living within 2 miles are ordered to stay inside due to the smoke.
A jury in Georgia has found Chrysler liable for the death of a 4-year-old boy and has awarded his family $150 million. The boy was killed 3 years ago when the Jeep Grand Cherokee he was in burst into flames after being rear-ended. The jury found that Chrysler acted with reckless disregard for human life by selling the boy's family a 1999 Jeep with a gas tank mounted behind the rear axle. This comes nearly 2 years after Chrysler agreed to a recall of some older model Jeeps with rear-mounted tanks. Chrysler says it may appeal.
We are updating the evening's top stories next at 7:30.
Including, should California taxpayers foot the bill for this prison inmate sex change surgery? A federal judge today said yes.
And will the drought put local landscapers and gardeners out of business? Those stories and much more next at Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7:30 p.m. on LA56.
Top story at 7:30. Emotional family and friends gather in Hawthorne to remember a woman shot dead in what appears to be a senseless act of violence. I'm David Ona.
I'm Michelle Tuzzi in for Colleen Sullivan. This is Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. Loved ones of 34-year-old Denise Berry took time this evening to remember her spirit. Berry was gunned down Wednesday, apparently after laughing because she and her son saw a man's feet hanging out of a car window. Her son, who was also shot, is now out of the hospital. The suspect, 38-year-old Robert Washington, was shot and killed by a nearby police officer.
Tonight, new surveillance video in the search for a child predator. Police say this white Nissan Altima was seen behind a Gardena car wash just before last night's kidnapping of a 2-year-old girl. Police say the suspect later dropped off the child in Cudahy, a parking lot. Investigators say she was injured but won't say how.
A court ruling today that a transgender prison inmate here in California must be granted a sex change operation. Eyewitness News reporter Alex Michelson tells us more about that inmate and the judge's decision.
This is what Michelle Norsworthy looks like today after years of hormone therapy paid for by California taxpayers. Michelle first came into prison as Brian Norsworthy, who was convicted of second-degree murder in Orange County back in 1987. In 2012, Norsworthy's doctor asked the prison to pay for her sex change surgery, and the prison fought it.
This procedure has never been performed in the California prison system, so it would be the first of its kind in California.
In a new decision, federal judge John S. Tiger says that Norsworthy has a constitutional right to the procedure.
This decision is historic in that it confirms that it's unlawful to deny essential treatment to transgender people.
The California Department of Corrections is considering an appeal. Their experts say the procedure could cost taxpayers as much as $100,000.
For the health care that Michelle so desperately needs, we estimate in the range of more like $30,000 to $40,000.
There's a similar fight underway in Massachusetts over the case of Michelle Kozolek. She's also a convicted killer seeking a sex change, but it has so far been denied in the courts. Her lawyers are trying to take the issue all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. In that case, even longtime gay rights advocate Barney Frank is among the liberal politicians saying taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for Kozolek's surgery. Most we talked with about Norsworthy agree with Frank's position.
It just kind of seems to me like that's expecting a little bit much.
It's unbelievable. I will never accept that.
There are better things that taxpayer money can go to.
Under Norsworthy's sentence, she is eligible for parole, but for some reason has postponed her last 3 parole hearings. Reporting from the newsroom, Alex Michelson, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
Yoga classes are legal at a school district in San Diego, and that ruling today from a federal appeals court. A lawsuit claimed the classes promote Hinduism and violate the religious right of students in the Encinitas Union School District. A lower court upheld the yoga classes, and today the appeals court agreed, saying the classes taught in the district are not religious in nature and do not contain any Hindu rituals. And a crime alert has been issued at USC following the reported rape of a student at a fraternity house. The alleged sexual assault happened at a party at the Delta Chi fraternity in October of 2013, but the student didn't report the incident until the past Monday. The crime alert referenced the possible use of a date rape drug and that the university is investigating the matter. The national headquarters for Delta Chi has also launched its own investigation.
The drought already has a lot of homeowners tearing up their lawns and putting in plants that require less water. And as more people follow suit, what will it mean for landscapers, those small businesses of 2 or 3 people who tend to the lawns? Orange County Bureau Chief Eileen Frere has that story.
We have succulent agaves. We have things that don't take a lot of water once they get established.
Richard Cohen points to a changing landscape. He's overseeing more projects that require less grass, more drought-tolerant plants, more hardscape. With the governor's order to cut back on water by 25%, he says it means having to adapt even more for business.
We need to try to counsel our clients that we need to design landscapes that need less water.
Something these new homeowners kept in mind in their design.
Most of the back is cement, so we don't have to worry about that.
In Ladera Ranch, drip irrigation and native plants recently replaced grass medians. Officials say they expect to save 2 million gallons of water a year, several $1,000s saved, and that doesn't count lower labor costs.
You don't have crews coming through and mowing and things like that, much easier plants to maintain on an ongoing basis.
Cohen says the drought is creating business opportunities as more people replace grass with artificial turf and water-guzzling landscapes with something more efficient.
But I think there's going to be so much opportunity to change all these old landscapes over that it's going to be a long time before we feel any severe pinch on the business.
He adds companies that don't change could suffer.
Those people are going to have to be brought up to speed. They're going to have to start going to seminars and classes in order to learn. It's going to sort of force them to either get better or they're going to end up out of business.
Getting rid of grass is attractive. For this homeowner, they did it a couple of months ago, replacing it with artificial turf and this unique design. They say it's not only less maintenance, but they also cut their water bill by more than half. In Yorba Linda, Eileen Frere, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And there's another way you can help beat the drought. It's a relatively new type of irrigation system that lets you save both water and money. Aquajet is a watering system that's buried 4 inches deep and crisscrosses your yard. Because it's underground, you're not wasting excess water by watering sidewalks or other cement. So what makes this different from other underground systems?
Now, as opposed to drip systems that will just drip out and drip in a little cone and drip down, and you have to put a lot of material to get those cones, ours is a pressurized system, so it shoots out and pushes out into the soil. We'll bore a hole, and it shoots out 1.5 feet, and then the water capsulates and spreads, and you get total water uniformity underneath the surface.
Aquajet is one of the few underground systems that also works on grass and trees. Besides saving water, some homeowners using it say they've noticed a cut in their water bills. And Eyewitness News is committed to helping you beat the drought. We want to hear your ideas, too. Join the circle of eyewitnesses and tell us what you're doing to save water, or share pictures or video when you see water being wasted. Just post the hashtag ABC7Drought.
Tonight, an Alabama man is free for the first time in 30 years. His conviction on capital murder charges overturned. We are hearing his first words as he walked through the prison doors, aimed squarely at the investigators who put him behind bars all those years ago. ABC's Steve Osunsami has his story.
This is the glorious moment that Anthony Hinton and his family prayed for. His first night as a free man after spending 30 long years locked up on Alabama's death row.
They had every intention of executing me for something I didn't do. For all of us that say that we believe in justice, this is the case to start showing.
Here he is, just 28 years old, sentenced to death for the murder of 2 restaurant managers in 1985. But new ballistics tests show there's no way the victims were killed by a gun found at his home, the key reason he was convicted. The relatives of those victims are upset by his release.
And I want to say to the victim family, I will continue to pray for you just as I have for 30 years. A miscarriage of justice not only to me but to the victim family.
So many times when these men are set free, most of them poor and African American, they talk about forgiving their accusers and prosecutors. But not this time.
All they had to do was test the gun. But when you think you're high and mighty and you're above the law, you don't have to answer to nobody. But I got news for you. Everybody that played a part in sending me to death row, you will answer to God.
Tonight, Hinton begins catching up on life, learning how to use his first cell phone and search the internet.
Again, that was ABC's Steve Osunsami reporting.
Up next, have you ever had a nightmare phone call with customer service?
Tonight, we are hearing from customers and the operators, and a shocking admission from the IRS.
Plus, how an unexpected visitor is making a stink at one Pennsylvania fast food restaurant.
Beautiful shot from Malibu. Check that out. The moon. We've got a full moon here on the heels of it. Hey, we have got cooler weather ahead, too, and rain in the 7-day forecast. Stick around for details on that.
A special performance today at the Marshall Fundamental Secondary School in Pasadena featuring former Backstreet Boy A.J. McLean. The concert was in support of donors who contributed to the school's music program. In February, thieves made off with more than 50 instruments from their band room. Only a few of them have been recovered. So far, the school has raised more than $34,000, including donations from the Live Together Foundation, which helped renovate the band room. Still, the school is looking to raise more money to replace all of the missing equipment.
Nightmare calls to customer service, stuck on hold, accidentally disconnected before getting an answer. You're about to hear some of those calls, and the big headline from the IRS, 6 out of 10 calls are simply not even answered. Here's ABC's Rebecca Jarvis.
I don't want to be transferred. Did you not hear me?
It's a nightmare, that dreaded call to customer service.
Are you going to let me talk to your manager?
Even the IRS chief admitting this week that most people who call the agency can't get through.
This truly is an abysmal level of service.
And getting someone on the phone doesn't always make things better, as this caller found.
We'd like to disconnect, please.
Help me understand why you don't want faster internet.
I'm declining this date. Can you please go to the next question so we can cancel our service?
The exchange going viral last year. Comcast apologizing, telling ABC News the call isn't representative of how it trains service agents. We called in 2 former home security and cable customer service reps to give us their side of the story.
It's very emotionally draining. And it's call after call after call.
How can you treat a customer that way?
And difficult customers beware. The agents say some use special tricks for dealing with those who lash out.
They've transferred people back into the queue.
That is the worst. Not only are you being transferred, but you're back on hold.
Yeah. You have to listen to Mariah Carey again.
Oh boy, that was ABC's Rebecca Jarvis reporting. She says if you find yourself in one of those situations, the best thing you can do, according to those former customer service reps, is complain on social media. Make your frustrations known there, and you're bound to get action.
All right, well, speaking of customer disservice, a runaway pig is the talk of a Pennsylvania town.
I wasn't real sure what it was. I was kind of scared. I got up and I realized it was a pig, and I was beating on the back door yelling for a manager, and he's like, I'm not opening the back door, come around the side.
It was a shock at first when the pig showed up at a Burger King restaurant outside of Pittsburgh. The pig was running loose, and as word spread and people started flocking to the Burger King, not for a burger, but to see the pig, at one point the porker got a little naughty.
The pig was really friendly, and she was like, hey, and the pig just kind of walked up to her and bit her right on the foot.
She had shoes on.
Yeah, she had shoes on, bit it right on the foot. She got back in her truck.
Well, Nichols said before the pig left, he tried to feed it bacon, but his manager yelled, don't. Apparently, the escaped pig lived down the street, and the owner eventually came by to pick him up.
Wow. Quite the commotion there. Jonathan Novak has your complete weekend forecast up next.
Plus, the freeway series between the Dodgers and Angels is overshadowed by an arbitrator's controversial ruling. The Angels react to news today involving their highest-paid player, Josh Hamilton, and this story.
Comic book fans take over Anaheim. I'm Greg Lee. Coming up, we'll take you inside Wondercon 2015 and show you all the costumes.
Major flooding problems across much of Kentucky brought on by drenching rainstorms. A mother and her child are missing after their car was swept away in a flooded creek. In Louisville, firefighters had to rescue more than 100 people in a single apartment complex after the entire first floor was inundated with water.
Just a tragedy when those folks are getting so much rain and they don't need it, and we need it so badly and we get nothing.
No, yeah, I mean, we might have a little, but we're not getting any real significant rainfall, at least in the forecast here looking ahead. They're still under the gun. In fact, tornado warnings in Alabama right now. So they're dealing with that, and we'll take a look at that right now in the Live Megadoppler 7000 HD. I can show you just a line of storms stretching through the southeast U.S. up the coast, and some really intense weather there with the lightning strikes. As you can see, just hundreds, thousands even of those right now as they are dealing with flooding in Kentucky still. And then again, down to the southwest of that, those are severe storms bringing tornadic activity. For us, it's just been more of the same dry weather, calm weather, high pressure in control. That Live Megadoppler 7000 HD. Well, for the extended forecast, we might be able to put some green on that screen, believe it or not. But for the weekend, we're going to keep it dry. So for Easter Sunday, everything looks good, nice and pleasant. Today was kind of hot, 86 in downtown Los Angeles, 15 degrees above average. And compared to yesterday, a big jump in those temps that we've had the last 24 hours. Downtown in the 70s now. 77 degrees, 79 in Burbank. Guys have dropped out of the 80s now. And 72 at the coast in Santa Monica, 74 Long Beach. Beautiful evening ahead. Tomorrow, we start seeing a little bit of a change, kind of a transition day, if you will. High pressure is going to be budging east, low pressure digging off to our west, and that's going to change our weather, bringing that onshore flow back into play in Southern California for Sunday. Really is starting on Sunday, but a little bit tomorrow. This is Saturday at 7 p.m. You see that energy starting to dive south. This is Sunday now, that energy moving into the Pacific Northwest, that trough really digging in Monday and Tuesday. Why is that important? Well, Tuesday, as a result, we'll have a chance of rain. Tuesday into Wednesday, 40%, not bad, for maybe a quarter to a half an inch of rain in the LA area. Foothills, maybe a little more than that. So good stuff, and even some snow potentially in the mountains. Tomorrow, dry and warm. 80 in Los Angeles, 84 Ontario, 60 in Wrightwood, and mid-80s in the IE. 7-day forecast for LA Metro and Orange County, powered up by AccuWeather. We drop tomorrow about 6 degrees or so. Sunday, another 8, just in time for Easter bunnies. Happy about that. Some clouds for the work week. Look at that. Temperatures into the 60s. By Monday, we haven't seen 60s for highs in LA in about a month, actually. Chance of rain Tuesday into Wednesday is going to be 40%. So for the valleys, IE, very similar. A warm one tomorrow, lower 70s on Sunday, and then a coolish work week with a chance of rain Tuesday into Wednesday. The beach, it's going to be breezy for a few days into Wednesday, in fact, and a chance of rain for you as well, with highs dipping all the way down to 63 by Tuesday. And as the mountains go, wow, look at this, finally talking a little bit of snow. 5,000 feet for the snow level, 43 on Tuesday for a high, 40 on Wednesday. The snow showers there, could see a little bit of accumulation possible. High desert looks like you guys will have some rain, in fact, as well on Tuesday and Wednesday. That's the chance right now, 40%. So finally, talking some rain, guys. We'll have more weather coming up in a few.
All right, Jonathan. Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome.
An arbitrator ruled today Angels outfielder Josh Hamilton will not be disciplined by Major League Baseball, even though he admitted to having a relapse during the offseason. Angels president John Carpino says it defies logic that Josh's reported behavior is not a violation of his drug program. The Angels owe Hamilton over $90 million over the next 3 seasons. The former American League MVP is currently recovering from shoulder surgery. Angels general manager Jerry DiPoto says the team has serious concerns about Hamilton's conduct and is disappointed he broke an important commitment to himself, his family, his teammates, and the fans.
This is a disappointing moment, make no mistake. And we'll move forward, we'll make the best of it. And we will try to find reach a conclusion that makes sense for all involved. And, that'll happen when it happens. We're in no rush. Josh is going to start on the disabled list, and we'll take it day by day. When we find out where he is in terms of his baseball preparedness, we'll make a decision on when he gets back out on the field. Do I agree with the decision that was made by the treatment board? Absolutely not. But that's not my decision to make.
Is Josh in rehab right now?
I can't answer that question.
Tiger Woods played a practice round at Augusta on Tuesday, and according to Golf Week, he shot a 2 over 74 with several indifferent chip shots. Today, he committed to playing in the Masters, where he has won 4 green jackets. Last month, Tiger said he wouldn't return to the tour until he could compete at the highest level. To the LPGA's first major, formerly known as Nabisco Championship, it's the ANA Inspiration. 17-year-old and world's #1 Lydia Ko bogeys the 18th hole to shoot a 2 over 74, ending her LPGA record 29th consecutive rounds under par. The field will be chasing this lady, Korea's Sae-Young Kim. She eagles the 18th hole to fire an impressive 7 under par 65. She'll take a 2-shot lead into the weekend at 7 under par.
The most colorful characters in pop culture descended upon Anaheim today for the annual Wondercon, Comic-Con's sister convention. The event is a who's who of film, television, comic books, and video games. Eyewitness News Orange County reporter Greg Lee shows us the spectacle.
From the cute to the whimsical to the downright scary and even the robotic. Pop culture fans in all types of costumes filled the Anaheim Convention Center for WonderCon.
WonderCon is like the little sister of Comic-Con. Comic-Con has about over 130,000 people. Last year, WonderCon had about 60,000 people.
The events are put on by the same company and feature the same activities, panel discussions, screenings, and lots of vendors selling everything from action figures to mint-condition comic books. And don't forget, a chance for these fanatics to show off their best costumes.
What I would say at this point, it's become a lifestyle. I mean, when I'm not at work, I'm at home working on something as far as costumes go, you know?
Michael Rendell and his wife Katie Goodson have attended WonderCon the last several years. They say it's the people that keep them coming back.
Superheroes, anime, silly Saturday morning cartoons, whatever it is you like, you're accepted here, and everybody just wants to be a part of one big family.
A family many of these convention goers say continues to grow beyond what you'd expect.
It's become a big family event now, more than just, you know, your nerds or geeks or whatever coming to the thing, you know, so it's a great time to be had by all. You know?
WonderCon runs until Sunday at the Anaheim Convention Center. Greg Lee, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
More news straight ahead here at 7:30.
And ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11, a man convicted of running a revenge porn website finds out his punishment. Plus, you probably have it in your cabinets, the common household cleaning product that could be putting your child at risk. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast. Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7.
A popular park in Tarzana was rededicated after a series of improvements today. Marvin Broad Mulholland Gateway Park is a popular entrance to the Santa Monica Mountains. More than 1,000 hikers, mountain bikers, picnickers use it every day. The city recently authorized a number of upgrades. The park was originally established in 1995. It offers some beautiful views of the San Fernando Valley and the Santa Monica Mountains.
Gorgeous. Well, it's Easter weekend at the LA Zoo, and today kicked off the annual Big Bunny Spring Fling. There are many special activities for the kids to enjoy, including getting to meet the zoo's Big Bunny. But the highlight for many is the chance to pet and hold real bunnies. The zoo is also highlighting some of the baby animals that were born recently, like giraffes and hippos. The Spring Fling activities last through the weekend.
Beautiful. Thanks for joining us for Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56. Law and Order SVU is coming up next.
And join us tonight for Eyewitness News at 11. Good night.